Welcome back to the Biz Alchemist podcast, where we are meeting with amazing entrepreneurs and sharing their journey of transformation into living in their light and their truth and making that a business so they can aspire and help others. And I am so excited and grateful to have someone who I look up to and always have as an amazing life and business coach who's living in her truth. And that is Elizabeth Barbour. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Fallon.
I am so excited to talk about your new book. But before we dive into that, I want to share a little bit more about you with the audience. Elizabeth has been helping people integrate mind, body, spirit, wholeness for over 23 years. And I'm grateful to have been working with her for, I think it's been almost 3 years now, with her amazing offerings as an intuitive life and business coach, shamanic practitioner, speaker, and author. As you will quickly realize, she's a creative force when it comes to releasing pain, healing wounds, transforming stories into new beginnings, and celebrating the beauty and joy of life's milestones, which is one of the things that I love about her and her emails and her energy. It's just always about celebration. And her new book is called Sacred Celebrations: Designing Rituals to Navigate Life's Milestone Transitions. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then she also has an amazing book that's already been out called Smart Self-Care for Busy Women. Find the me time you crave. I think everybody needs that, obviously. And just some like fun things about her. She is a 5/1 generator in human design. She's a Capricorn sun, Aquarius moon, and Scorpio rising, like me.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful today. Shocker, I know. And she's an ESFJ on the Myers-Briggs and 2 with a 3 wing on the Enneagram. All the fun things.
I know. I like, give me all the personality assessments, right? You know.
Love it so much. So I would love to hear about your journey to your gifts turning on, you turning into a business, and then you writing this book.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Can I do that in a minute or less?
Totally. You can do anything.
So I've been doing this work for 23 years, and as you are seeing as an entrepreneur too, it evolves and changes and morphs and grows over time. And so where you start in one place shifts, and then it shifts again, and then it shifts again. And for me, I like to think of it as a spiral, really, because it's, you know, we sort of have a completion of a cycle, but then we level up. And then we have another cycle and we complete that and then we level up. And so that certainly has been my experience. I mean, I think in 23 years in business, I've had like, I don't know, 7 or 8 websites, you know, because I just keep changing form, but right, exactly. Make you feel better. It's okay to change. It's okay to change. And in fact, it's not only okay to change, it's necessary for your growth and evolution and for the growth and evolution of our clients, you know, that we've got to be changing and doing that as they are doing that. So I became a coach back in the day when you told people you were a coach. I mean, literally like 2000, you were, I don't know, high school in 2000. I don't know. I've been around a while. And, you know, back in the day, people would say, what sport? You know, you're a coach, what sport? And I'm like, no athletic bones in this body here. So, so coaching and doing the shamanic work, and healing work, it's all just part of helping us live healthier, happier, and really more whole and integrated lives. And I know you do so much of that work too, Fallon, but it's about helping us take all these different aspects of who we are and integrating it into a whole so that we're congruent and aligned.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for all of your help with me and my life and my business. And I cannot wait for our upcoming journey.
Yes.
And it's just so helpful when you're stuck. And you definitely are like the voice in my head when it comes to celebrating things. And I mean, I knew I was going to talk to you today, obviously, but you even popped in my brain this morning because I had like a celebratory thing financially. And it's really just like embodying that energy of celebration. And especially like as we're going into the holidays, and it's so funny, like being in the new reality I am with my life and business, like the whole Halloween energy was like very, very different. So that was kind of wild. So as we go into Thanksgiving and some of the other holidays, I would love to hear, if someone is like, they're having anxiety about all the things that they have to get done. And then also like, what are some things that you tell yourself or your clients of make sure you stay present for like this?
Yes, yes. Well, and so I feel like I go like five different ways with that
I
question there. But, I think one of the most important celebrations that we can engage in on a regular basis is this practice of gratitude. And that's really what we want to be talking a lot about today, but is this idea that yes, life is hard and scary and overwhelming, and the world is on fire right now. And, both personally and in the collective, it's been a little chaotic. And that's like putting it so mildly. But it's this idea that when we can get present and when we can get grounded and get back to the basics of what's important and what matters and where is the beauty and the joy and the magic and meaning, even in the muck. One of my favorite sayings is no mud, no lotus. Right. And so we need the mud, we need the hard times, we need the challenges to then bring forth the beauty.
I'm remembering the first time you told me that, and I'm getting like so emotional. It was like, it was so amazing the first time you told me that. I loved it. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's really that idea that it's out of the challenging times that's where the beauty comes and the joy. And when we connect in with that on a regular basis, by having regular gratitude practices. So you're right. Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, let's talk about sort of what are daily things folks can do. Let's talk about things for the holidays. But I'm going to ask you a question first. So what has been your experience with how gratitude has changed your life and perspective?
It's changed everything because I grew up writing thank you notes, right? Like it's always been like a thing that I've done. But in, the last few years since I've like really stepped into like the things that I want to bring into my life, it's just gratitude as a practice, like actually setting time for gratitude in the morning, setting time right before bed for it. And then like the stuff that you teach, right? It's just like celebrating and being grateful of every little thing. Like I am so grateful that my friend texted me today. The fact that we had this like amazing, crazy conversation about her asking me, and I put this on my Instagram if anyone wants to look at it. She's like, did you send me a telepathic phone call on Saturday morning? And I was like, I sure did. And like, I celebrated that. I was like squealing and jumping up and down. And that's what we're meant to do. If I hadn't already been in the energy of gratitude, I don't know if I would have got that text. But I was literally sitting outside with my ceremonial cacao. And I was just like, so grateful for the birds. I'm so grateful for Gaia. Like, I'm so grateful for this beautiful day in Atlanta. It's like already, it's like in the 70s and sunny. And, just journaling is it's just like a non-negotiable. I bring my journal everywhere. I'm like a little kid with their stuffed animal. And that's what it's about though. Cause like when you have that gratitude, it's like all these beautiful things start to come into your life. And that's what it's all about, is like accessing our fullest potential. And you literally can't do that without being grateful and like setting time for gratitude in its essence, if that makes sense.
Well, yes, and what you just said, I think, is really the key. It's when we operate from that place of an attitude of gratitude, we attract and invite more of that into our lives. We invite more abundance and beauty and joy and love and opportunity and success and all of that because we're rooted in that place of being so grateful for what we already have. And we're obviously coming from a place of privilege, and living in a place where we can feel safe and, are supported by folks. And certainly that's not everybody's experience. And yet, when we go through challenging times and we feel unsteady or uncertain, going back to that gratitude practice is just so critical. So you talked about, so let's talk about some of the ways that folks can have regular gratitude practice. Obviously, journaling is one of the best. I'm a big fan of writing it all out because what's not only good about that, it's good for your brain to handwrite it and put it in your journal, but it's also good then to go back and read it.
Mm,
to read it the next day or a week from now, or on a day when you're feeling really bummed and depressed or stressed out or overwhelmed. And then you just sit and you look at your gratitude journal and you go, yeah, oh yeah. I really do have a good life right now. Or there are some things in my life that are good, even if your life feels like it's falling apart on the outside. So it's about kind of anchoring back into that.
yeah.
Do you reread yours?
That's so funny you said that because I didn't. And maybe that's something for us to dig into as me, the client, you, the coach, because I'm just like, when I'm done, I'm done. And it's so funny because my friend mailed me a journal yesterday. And like, normally I would finish my journals that I have now until the last page, but I'm kind of like, I just want to go into the new one. Like, I want to jump timelines
Mm.
like with my journal.
You can do that. Yes, absolutely. Trust your intuition on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pink and flowers. I'm like, give it to me. But
It's funny. And again, like it's such a simple thing, right? Like your friend sends you the journal and it's pink and flowers. You're like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Must have it.
yeah.
Such a little thing, but can really shift your vibration.
Yeah. And a lot of things I journal about, I use as like affirmations. And so if I'm like, I don't obviously drive that much, manifesting travel more. So when I am in my car and I'm just like wanting to spend time with myself in my car, who's very magical and you helped me with also, I like to repeat the things that I think that I wrote. And it's also just kind of like a fun brain memory test too. Um,
Mm,
it's just kind of fun.
that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about some other gratitude things that you may already do, but I have some clients who do some of these that are really a lot of fun. So, one in particular, she will text her bestie every day and they'll do 3 gratitude things. And so they just have it back and forth every day, just 3 things.
Immediately doing that for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Yep.
Love
It's
that.
really easy, but it's in a not only does it get you in the space, but there's an accountability piece because you know that your accountability buddy is waiting. And
Yeah.
then they also know that, oh, well, when she sends me hers, I've got to do mine. So it's just, a built-in way to show up better in that space.
I love it.
Um, Another thing, I know you and I, one of the things we share is a love of crystals. And I know like I have a little, show you, I have a little hematite heart here. Oh, look, it goes with my hearts on my.
Hey, a mini me of your painting.
It is. It's funny. I didn't realize that. I've never done that before to hold it up. But yeah, it is. And so I carry this in my pocket almost every day. I love hematite just because it's, so grounding. And but yeah, and I pick it up and I'll go, oh, that's right. Okay, I'm thankful for this. So it's kind of like my little gratitude
I
part.
love that.
And you can do that with any stone or any crystal. I mean, I know you have a gazillion in your house too. So
Yeah.
and it can be the same one, or you can change it out every day. But just as a reminder, like, oh, I'm going to slip this in my pocket or in my purse or have it sitting on my desk. And every time I pick it up, it's a reminder, it serves as a talisman. It's like this reminder to be like, okay, let me just like say gratitude real quick and then get on with your day.
Yeah. I love
Um, some things that work well with families too. So I have one of the examples in my book is from one of my coaching clients from many years ago. She was raising teenagers. She had 2 teenagers at home. And she said, my gosh, they're just so ungrateful right now. And they're acting entitled. And like, I just don't know what to do with them. And so we talked about the idea of doing a gratitude jar where you just get an empty jar or a bowl or a box, it doesn't matter what it is. And then you have slips of paper out and you keep, pens near it. Maybe you keep it on the kitchen counter or someplace in your family where people are going to walk by it on a regular basis. And the idea was to encourage every member of the family to write down every day or a couple times a week something that they were grateful for, specifically that someone else in the family did.
Oh,
So it was like, oh, thanks mom for emptying the dishwasher for me even though it was really my turn. Or thanks sibling for making my lunch because I was running late the other day to school. And so thanks for, making my PB&J, like simple things. It doesn't have to be like, big world changing things. But, and so what happened, what she found is she said, the first couple weeks, my family was like, This is stupid. Why am I doing that? She said, but over time, because she was persistent and was consistent with it. And she said, over time, it got to the place where every Sunday night, when they would sit down and they would open up all of the things that people had written, people really got into it and they got really present. And she said, it was so subtle, but to see the shift in the teenagers was remarkable.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yeah. So I think that's to me is a really fun one when you're living in a house with a bunch of other people. Especially I'm about to have a teenager. So
No, I'm so excited for you. Riley's so good though. She's like an angel, like literally.
she is, let me tell you, she's a little teacher. She is my teacher, one of my greatest teachers, actually. So in fact, I dedicated my book to her. So.
So precious. I love that.
I know. Let's see, other things for gratitude. Well, and you might participate in this as well. So I have a Facebook group called Sacred Celebrations, which any of your folks are welcome to join. Just Google Facebook group Sacred Celebrations. And every Tuesday I will make a little post and I'll say, okay, Tuesday gratitude time. What you got? And it's always good. And I'm in a bunch of other groups that do that as well. And it's funny, even though I do it in my own group, I tend to comment on theirs and the other ones, because I like engaging with other people and seeing, well, what are their gratitudes? People maybe I don't know as well. They're not necessarily my community, but I'm a part of another community. And it's always neat to see what people write. Sometimes it's the simple things, like you said, it's like the sunrise or the nice weather or my cup of tea or whatever it is. And other times it's the big things, like my grandparents came to visit me, or I got to sit with someone who was sick, or I got to volunteer, or I had a big win at work, or whatever it is. But yeah, just stopping to not only pause and write out your gratitudes and have it be witnessed publicly, but then also to see what are other people grateful for. Because then you're like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for that too. Oh yeah, I heard the birds singing this morning too. Or, oh yeah, my neighbor was really nice. Or, oh yeah, my friend brought me that, cupcake out of the blue. Because who doesn't love random cupcakes?
That's also a great idea. So many amazing ideas. I cannot wait to implement them.
So
it's just like so magical.
Yeah. So yeah, so those are some thoughts. Anything else to add to that?
I think a lot of people listening are like, yeah, those are great ideas. Like, I'm going to get right to that. But like, no, like grab, put this on pause, like put it in your phone. Like, this is something I'm doing, set an alarm. Like, it's these little things that make a difference. I mean, every time I do something or think something of how grateful I am for XYZ, like something really amazing happens. And it's just so important for us to really understand the power of our heart-brain connection, and gratitude and forgiveness go hand in hand. And if we really make that a daily practice, especially with our families, like just miracles.
Yes, it's so true. Have you read the book Atomic Habits?
I have not, and everyone tells me to, and I have not read it yet. So
yes. So
really, really
yes. So one of the things that he teaches in Atomic Habits is he talks about habit stacking. And so he'll say where you already have an established habit, go ahead and add something else with it. So this is a great example of that. If you don't already have a regular gratitude practice, you could say, okay, well, every night when I brush my teeth, I'm going to, while I'm brushing my teeth, I can say in my head, oh, what are all the things that I'm grateful for today? Or maybe if you have kids and you're tucking them into bed every night, and maybe you say prayers before you go to bed with your kids, you can add in a little gratitude piece. Say, hey, before we say our prayers, what are 3 things that we're grateful for that happened today? If you sit down as a family or with a friend or even by yourself, either eating a meal at home or eating out in a restaurant, just stop and go, okay, what's 1 or 2 things I'm grateful for right now in this moment before you move on. It's just kind of that taking that pause or that breath to get yourself still and present to do that. So
I love that. Yeah. I mean, if every person like sat down and was grateful, especially of what they were eating, like you're blessing and charging the food. And that's really magical,
That
especially
is,
if you're eating something that's like a treat, right? Like the cupcake that your friend brought over, and you're like, man, this is going to be so good when I'm, watching my show or whatever. Just like taking a few breaths and be like, wow, like I'm so grateful for this cupcake. I'm so grateful this person dropped it off. Like, I'm so grateful for whatever they could have been doing in their day. They decided to like give me this beautiful blessing. And then that cupcake that may have gluten, dairy, and sugar and all these things in it becomes magical healing property because you've charged it with gratitude.
yes, yes. And so much better to do that as opposed to going, I really shouldn't be eating this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway because I really want it,
Yeah.
and like, oh, I'm so terrible. And oh, I had a cupcake yesterday. It's like, no, no, I'm just going to appreciate this little cupcake.
I love that so much.
Yeah, that's a great
So
example.
for preparing for the holidays, especially if someone has like an awkward situation with their family, I don't like the gratitude jar, I feel like is like a big stretch, but I've seen it happen. I've been at gatherings where I'm like, we're doing this thing. Everyone's like, this is weird. And I'm like, but we're still doing it because I said so.
Yes.
And then it worked out. I guess I'm just like wanting people to like feel more confident. Like if you're like, I want to do these things and I know that there's going to be that like moment where it feels awkward and weird and I don't want to say it and I have this conflict avoidance, whatever, just do it.
That's so true. And what I would say to add to that, especially if you are at a gathering, is enroll the children
Mm,
because the children don't have the filter about like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this or this is stupid. They don't have judgment about it. They're like, oh, we get to say thank you for something. Yay. Like, you know, like kids are so innocent, especially the really, really little ones. But so yeah, if you are in a situation and if there's little kids around, I would say start with the kids and go around and whisper and say, okay, we're going to do something at the dinner table. Like, let's talk about Thanksgiving coming up, American Thanksgiving coming up. It's like you go around to all the kids and say, okay, so I'm going to introduce this thing at dinner, but I really need your help because some of the grown-ups can be a little grumpy puss,
yeah.
and we want to help dispel them of that. And so I need your help. So I'm going to make this suggestion, and then I want you to be thinking about what are your things you want to be thankful for, and then the kids are going to be like, oh, so then when they get to the table, they're ready to go, like they're ready to rock and roll. So
I love that. I'm excited to have more kids around because they do want to do that. And like, I'm all about playing and all that fun stuff. So,
yes. And if you don't have kids of your own, borrow them from your friends or,
yeah, 100%.
cousins or other people that you know. Something us talking about this reminds me about something. So I had just moved to Asheville for the first time. So I live in Asheville, North Carolina now. But I moved to Asheville, North Carolina for the first time in 2001, right before 9/11. And
Mm,
so I moved here that summer, and then 9/11 happened. And, obviously, it was a devastating time for all of us. And I didn't have a lot of friends. I had a new group of people that I was hanging out with, but they didn't know me very well. And so I invited them to come to my house. And I said, let's have a meal together and let's talk about what's happening and how everybody is feeling. And I'll never forget. So I had maybe 8 or 10 people sitting around my dining room table. And, it was potluck and people brought food and stuff. But I did a gratitude circle and I said, hey, before we begin this discussion, let's everybody go around and we'll say one thing we're grateful for. And I will never forget my friend Randall saying, and people were talking about like, big things. I'm grateful for my family and love and whatever. And we had made asparagus for dinner and Randall picks up a stalk of asparagus. He's like, I am grateful for asparagus. And I mean, it was
love
so
it.
hilarious. Like everybody just bust out laughing, but like such a simple thing, like being grateful for really yummy, delicious asparagus that's good for us. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Like when people know how to cook asparagus, right? Oh my God. It's so good.
I know. But it's those little things. So, and also realizing that gratitude doesn't always have to be, serious or solemn. It can be fun and playful and bright. And that's, I think, where the kid element can be really fun too, because, they're grateful for, silly putty and glitter and, puppy kisses and, that kind of stuff that we grown up sometimes forget about. So.
Absolutely. So I don't know if you've seen it, but I wanted to share. There's this amazing, adorable video that's been out, and it's just like a reel. And it's an adult asking a child, a bunch of different children, like, if you could change one thing about your body, what would it be? And it was like, I wish I had a mermaid tail. I wish I had a mouth like a shark. Like all of these things. And they had to think really hard of like what they would want to change about their body. And especially for me and a lot of women, like our journey with like our bodies and dysmorphia and all that stuff, like that video like changed my life. I was like, I was that kid. Like if someone asked me, what would you change? I'd be like, I want a mermaid tail and I want to live in water and have people bring me my food. Like that's what I want.
I have not seen that actually. I would
It's
love
so
to though.
cute.
And that's such a great example, right, about why we need to have different perspectives and also different generations too. So, and that's such a great example about children, right? Like they get magical and real creative, but also our elders do as well. You know, you talk with, you know, your grandparents or great grandparents or your elderly neighbor, and they're going to have a completely different take on things than, you know, than those of us who are of a different age. So yeah, so that's why I think intergenerational friendships are so important as well too, because we learn so much from each other. Yeah.
100%. Yay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put all the links below so people can get access to your book, but I'm super, super
Okay.
excited to get into it.
Cool. Thank you. I'm super excited about it. Can I say like two things about it?
You want. I'm so excited.
Thank you. So it's called Sacred Celebrations, and it's all about designing rituals to navigate life's big transitions that we have. And I actually started writing it, believe it or not, almost 7 years ago when my mom passed away. It's
Wow.
been that long. It's taken me that long. So now the book has actually been written for probably a year and a half. But with my publisher and my move and everything that's happened, it took us a while. So it probably took me about 5 years to write it.
Wow.
And that's because, you know, I was, you know, I had a coaching practice and raising a kid and
Yeah.
moving and, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
Um, but what I realize, in fact, I'm just sort of realizing this now as we're talking about it. My opening story is the story about my mother's death, actually, and about her process of letting go of her earthly body and making her transition, and some of the rituals that I did to help support her on that journey. And it's all about gratitude. It's about my gratitude for being able to be her death doula, for lack of a better word, and help to steward her through that transition. And so all of the stories in the book, I mean, some are mine, but I have a ton that are from clients and friends and neighbors and colleagues. And it's just different people telling their stories of celebration and ritual and things that have helped them navigate changes in life. So, and gratitude is certainly one of them, but you know, there's so many others too. So
I love that. It's so important because, you know, like you and I, like you'll give me this amazing insight and like just life-changing information when I'm feeling stuck through the journeys that you do. And there's always a celebration after. There's always a ritual. There's always something so that I can release and make space for more. And
yeah.
it's always just so beautiful how it kind of like unfolds.
Good. Well, thank you. Well, I love working with you and I love knowing you all these years. And it's so excited to see, you know, what you're doing and how you're impacting people's lives too. So keep doing what you're doing, girl.
Thank you. And I'm really, I'm still kind of processing that, like how long the book has been like in its birthing process. So your life is so different from a year ago, let alone like 5 years ago.
Yes.
I'm
Yes. Well, yeah. And you want to talk about gratitude. You know, my car accident, I had, you know, for your listeners, I had a near fatal car accident in May of this year. And the recovery has been long and arduous. And I am grateful every damn day that I'm still here. And you know, it's a miracle that I'm still here. And you know, I really believe in miracles now. I mean, I did before, kind of, but then when you live through something like that, it's like, okay, like clearly there's a greater purpose for why I'm still here. So,
wow.
um,
I don't know if you knew this, but like your best friend and I had a scheduled call just to kind of check in.
yeah.
And she like just texted me and she's like, my best friend was just in a car accident and I knew it was you. And my heart sunk. But then I was
I
like,
didn't know that.
Elizabeth, she's gonna be okay. She's gonna be better than okay. Like I just like knew. And then when you told the story of you literally leaving your body and being like, nope, like going back, like have to come back to earth and like do the damn thing. I was like, of course that's what happened. Like it was just wild. Like I just feel like a normal person or the old me would have been like super traumatized and like so upset. And then I was like, nope, she's gonna be okay.
Wow.
It's
That,
trippy.
that's really cool. You never told me that. That's
Yeah.
really neat. That's neat to know that. Good.
They have a Manny Jenny. I'm like, that feels like a million years ago. It's only a few months ago.
I know lots happened in 6 months. Yeah, the timeline is speeding up for all of us, I think.
100%. 100%. Well, I am so grateful for you writing another book because I know the first one was amazing. And I love that it's called Sacred Celebrations because that's also your gift line. So if you are into amazing jewelry and you want it blessed by a beautiful soul, like you can always go to Sacred Celebration Gifts. And I'll put all the links obviously below for you guys to get access to all of the things and get in Elizabeth's beautiful world. It's a wonderful place to be. I love her emails. The one today was so perfect. It was so cool that I got to see it before we got on together.
Oh, good, 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 good. I'm glad it resonated. I already heard from a couple people this morning. They're like, this one was really good. I'm like, okay.
God, like
It's hit or miss. You never know, right? Some days it lands and some days it doesn't. So,
so many amazing nuggets. I'm so grateful. I can't wait to do the gratitude texting stuff with my friends. It's going to be so fun.
good. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me on. As always, I love talking with you and love the good work you're doing in the world with all of your listeners and followers and clients as well. So
Thank you so
thanks.
much. I appreciate that. I'm so excited about my journey coming up. So if you're not following me on Instagram, be sure to do that because I will be sharing whatever pops up. And I'll be going live a lot more too now that I am fully out of the spiritual closet. And if you liked this and you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please snapshot and tag me and Elizabeth. That would be amazing. And then also, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. That would be super amazing. But I'm sending everyone so much love. I've been sending you so much love this whole time, and Elizabeth has too. And we are just so grateful for everyone here. And I'm just so grateful for you, Elizabeth.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fallon. Take care, everybody. Thanks.
Bye. See you next
Bye.
time.